told everybody I was going to do a part 2 to this. And there's a guy on my Facebook who created a group called Firestone Broke My Car. And there's so many horror stories on there. And I'll go ahead and tell you the store that I worked at when I lived in Texas. It was in Temple, Texas on South General Bruce Drive. So there, I said it. They had me do some crazy stuff. And I got tired of it. I got tired of ripping people off. Good example, I did an oil pan gasket on a Chevrolet. And when you do an oil pan gasket, you're supposed to put silicone where the timing cover meets, and then on the back, and then, gaskets on the pan, you put everything back together. So the master tech and the manager that came from another store asked me, did you put silicone on that? And I said, yeah, you're supposed to. They literally told me to take the oil pan back down, scrape it off, and put the oil pan back. And I said, well, that's going to cause it to leak. And they were like, yeah, that's the whole point. We want them to come back. Excuse me. So they would have had me do like triple the work, quadruple the work for the same amount of pay. Angry customer, they do anything they can, and they said it's good for the business. It keeps the people coming back. Well, not when you're doing the same crap over and over again. The whole point is to fix it right the first time. And another example of that, like, I'm not in Texas anymore. I moved back to North Carolina. There's one here where I live at. My next door neighbor's check engine light came on his Ford Ranger. So I took out my scan tool, and here's the code. P0420. I don't know if you know what a P0420 is. I will tell you here in just a minute. So I told him exactly what he needed, but go to Firestone and see what they say. They come back and tell him that he needs a canister purge valve and 2 oxygen sensors, and they guarantee that it'll fix it. So he calls me, and I said, no, don't do it. That's not what you need. And and then I said, wait a minute, no, go do it. Let's see what they say. Let's see if it fixes your problem. So they put it on there. It didn't fix the problem. Check engine light came back on. The code P0420 is catalyst efficiency bank 1 below threshold, which means your catalytic converter is bad on bank 1. Why'd they say O2 sensors? O2 sensors read before and after the cat, but they're working because they're telling you that the catalytic converter is bad. I don't know where they got canister purge valve from. Anyway, so he bought the cats. I put the cats on. I used his old O2 sensors, cleared his check engine, drove it, and in about 17 miles, all the monitors cleared, and there's no pending codes and no stored codes, which means everything's working fine. So he went and got his money back for everything at Firestone. If I said AutoZone before, I apologize. And another horror story, there's a subscriber. He lives in New York. Went to go get his state inspection, which was $35. And the check engine light was on, and they just threw a bunch of parts at it and never actually fixed the problem. And he said that one day he was driving and the check engine light went off, and apparently it went through a drive cycle long enough for it to stay off for him to pass inspection. And as soon as he passed, the light came back on after them throwing like $735, I think he said, worth of parts at it. And he emailed me and he gave me the code, and I told him what to fix, and it ended up being right. His was actually the canister purge valve, and is a Dodge Caravan. And on the Dodge Caravans, they're on the passenger side, up front near the headlight. Dude, they were throwing O2 sensors at it, spark plugs, all that actual charcoal canister, which is at the back, which is part of your evap system. They put a new gas cap on it, everything but the part that it needed. So one of my friends actually just left Firestone. He was a service advisor there, and he hates it. He hated it, excuse me. They would have him do stuff like sell things to customers that they don't need. Power steering leak. Yeah, power steering hose. They told him sell an entire power steering rack with outer tie rods and new lines and a power steering flush. You don't need all that. Fix the line. That's it. Now, if there's something legitimately wrong with the power steering rack, yes. But if there's nothing, like in his situation, there was nothing wrong with it, don't do it. You're just throwing money at people that don't really know what they're doing. And it's sad, really. So if you don't want to go to a dealership, which I understand a lot of you don't, go to a reputable mom and pop shop. Some of these guys, they work hard, they do a lot of diagnosing. Some of them actually came from dealerships, and they got tired of, people call them stealerships, but they got tired of not being able to turn hours because the service advisor is feeding somebody else or whatnot. But just don't take it to Firestone unless you end up wanting a new vehicle, like Dan Van Fleet, who actually made that Facebook page, Firestone Broke My Car. So if you're on Facebook, go join that group if you have a Firestone horror story. His was like $8,000 worth of damage. Anyway, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. I am doing a giveaway for the GSX-R 600. That's still going on. But in order to win, you gotta like, comment, share, subscribe. So anyway, if you got any questions about diagnosing or anything like that, shoot a comment, shoot me an email, and I will actually get back to you.